You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I think that shows taste and breeding on your part. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up. Just thumbs up. Thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. So when they turn on Musk, they turn on Musk. I have to say, there is a thing about the purity police on both sides of the aisle that the minute they decide they don't like you, it's not, they're not indifferent. You are worse than the enemy. Look at Trump and how he regards rhinos. Look at Jimmy Dore and how he views Bernie Sanders. It's pretty, it's a knee-jerk reaction, and it's permanent. And in this particular, look at this. This is, hold on, I've got to scroll. I got to drag this up to show you. Bannon calls out veiled CCP takeover through Musk's cybernetic collective mind. Now, obviously collective being a pejorative word because it represents communism, as does the word, I think, sharing. It gives it gives Bannon hives. But this is apparently I don't know. It said at a certain point they get so far off the rails, I have no idea what rails they were on to start with.
Coming up on an election, I mean, it's a ways away, but it's going to all start. Yeah, President Trump is allowed back on the platform.
Oh, by the way, this is a big interview that everybody's touting online, and a lot of Musk suckers are very excited about it.
Platform, he hasn't actually come back.
Right.
But one would imagine if and when he does, or there are others who will say 2020 election was rigged. Is that something, I assume that's not something you believe?
I think the answer is nuanced. Do I believe Biden won? Yes, I believe he won.
And you voted for him.
I did, actually.
Do you regret that?
I mean, man,
this is leadership.
I wish we could have just a normal human being as president.
You do.
That's what I want.
You do. And also, the fuck do you know about normal human beings?
I think
you were friends with Jeffrey Epstein. The fuck do you know about normal?
If we could, there's that old saying of we're better off being run by people picked at random from the phone book than the faculty of Harvard.
Yeah.
I don't know who said that, but it's someone very wise.
Yeah, Biden didn't go to Harvard. Neither did Trump. This is
and I would say
also that's a gag. That's a Yale gag against Harvard.
If we could do that for the president, that would be great.
You think that would be beneficial? So you're not, obviously you're not happy.
All right, I'll do it.
With Biden.
Don't we all just want a normal human being to be
whatever
the president?
That means, whatever. I'm not even sure anymore what normal means.
No, but I mean, just. I don't know, just
you want somebody who's competent. That's helpful.
Yes, I think definitely somebody's executive ability is underrated since the president is effectively the chief executive officer of the country. It actually...
Yeah, except it's not a company and you can't fire the poor. Hi.
Matters if they're a good...
I hate the there are two analogies I fucking can't stand in politics. One is the CEO business analogy. We got to run America like a business. If I looked at these books, I would say we'd be going out of business. Yeah, it's not a fucking business, dummy. You can't fire the poor. Secondly, it's the kitchen table. A family sitting around a kitchen table wouldn't have this kind of debt. Really? They don't have a mortgage? Well, of course they have a mortgage. Do they have a car? Do they have a car payment? Yeah, well, yeah, of course they have a car payment. Do they own their phones? Well, no, probably they have a program and then they pay off their phones over time, put a deposit down on, but it's added to the bill or whatever. Okay, so their debt to income ratio is about what, 250%? No, it's actually worse. It's probably 700%. But the house payment's over 35 years and the car payment's over 5 to 10, maybe 3, depending on the value of the car.
Executive officer.
Yeah.
It's not simply a matter of do they share your beliefs and but are they good at getting things done? There's a lot of...
Yeah, you mean like passing bills, like an infrastructure bill? Like it'd be nice if we had somebody who could actually get an infrastructure bill, or like all the people who said we were going to get out of Afghanistan to finally have somebody who did, like that. Decisions
that need to be made every day.
Yes, here's a good idea. Go go find out what those decisions are, start your own fucking scorecard on what you would have done, and then check them against reality.
Many of them are unrelated to moral beliefs,
Right.
And
no, many of them not. Almost none of them are devoid of morality. This is not about what bill is paid when, but or who licks the fucking stamp.
And you just want a good executive because they're CEO of America.
No, they're not.
They are.
We want a good CEO
Stop saying they are, reporter asshole.
of America.
Patient of this. I mean, you do some tweets that seem to be, or at least give support to some who would call others conspiracy theories.
Well, yes, but I mean, honestly, some of these conspiracy theories have turned out to be true.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. We haven't found the alien body that dropped at Roswell. There aren't fucking clones of Hillary Clinton running around. None of the Q shit. None of it turned out to be true. Pizzagate? Yeah. There's not even a fucking basement in that pizza place. And if any of this shit is turned out to be true 6 months later, explain to me this. And I've been asking this, and maybe there's a maggot or a Q in the crowd out there, and I smell you. Maybe they can explain it to me. So at the end of Trump's presidency, apparently not only did they set up gallows in the back to hang Hillary and Biden and everybody who was criminal, but they were sneaking children out of the tunnels underneath the White House in the middle of the night. Okay, so my question is how come no one ever saw them coming out? Why would they come out at the end of the Trump presidency and not the beginning? Why the fuck is the only time we've ever seen an adrenochrome farm be shut down and children be released from sexual bondage? Why in the world? Why did that happen after Trump lost 2020? Why? Why didn't it happen on day one? Where the fuck was the parade? That to me is, I've yet to hear anybody, any you Q fucks, anybody, Jesus.
Which ones?
Well, like the Hunter Biden laptop.
No, there is no laptop. There's a hard drive called laptop, dumb fuck. Here's a good idea, and this is a real easy one to check. The hard drive full of information that's been floating around has 416 gigabytes of information on it. How many were on what was the size of the max available hard drive in the model of laptop that was allegedly dropped off at John Paul McIsaac's shop? 256 gigabytes. The second question is, did John Paul McIsaac say he was able to get all 256 gigabytes, or that it was a full hard drive at all, that he was able to get all of it off of there? No. Was he able to, because it was damaged, was he able to hook it up to the cloud and download anything extra from the cloud in the process? No. I rest my case.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, it isn't true. No, it's not. Stop saying it is. It isn't.
So, that was a pretty big deal. There was Twitter.
What was which was the bigger picture? The one of him napping with the crack pipe in his mouth, or him smoking in the bathtub, or the jean jacket underwear shot where he's clowning, or the edited shot of I'm shooting my face, now I'm shooting crack, and there's a cut between the two because all addicts in the middle of their dividing up drugs on a scale, they all do a little. I mean, you got to tighten it up for Instagram.
And others engaged in active suppression of information that was relevant to the public.
What was relevant to the public? That he smokes in the bathtub? That he was an addict? We all knew he was an addict. Fuck does that have to do with anything? Dude, they can't even find their fucking whistleblower. This 3 years later. They're not even looking at the hard drive for evidence because they haven't found any.
That's a terrible thing that happened. That's election interference. I'd say so.
There's an edit.
So my overall kind of vision for X or Twitter is to be a...
Hi, Elon. I'm going to send you this clip later. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. If you need me to explain it to you, I would be glad to. If you don't want me to, it's because you're chicken shit.
A cybernetic collective mind for humanity.
All right, slow down there, buddy, okay? Billionaire Elon Musk bought Twitter back in October. It's a microblogging site. I like it a lot, but let's just, okay? He bought it for a whopping $44 billion. It's a private company now, so we don't know.
By the way, why are we watching? I like Chris Hayes. Why are we watching Chris Hayes? Steve Bannon? Okay, here we go. At least it's not gonna. He's borrowing his whole fucking show.
What its business internals look like, but by all accounts, advertisers have absolutely fled. His new subscriber service doesn't look like it's doing very well. People think the company is worth.
It's Wednesday, 17 May in the year of our Lord 2023.
So you were just going to leave our Lord out of it, Steve? You disgusting, aging Fred Flintstone.
It's not many days.
Many days. Hold on, I got to turn the audio up now because his after all these years, his production is still ass.
That we start the worm off with kudos to.
You might want to articulate in the same way that we have a problem with SpaceX becoming SpaceX. War Room, if you run it all together, sounds like worm, the way you say it. And you know what? The chances are you have worms. I understand worm. Okay,
Chris Hayes, who absolutely nailed it right there and was the only person to pick up. I watched that interview with David Faber. And David Faber fawning over, and let me be brutally frank.
Well, I would save it for Frank's speech then. If you're going to be on, save that for the Lindell Net.
Elon Musk is a man-child.
And what does that make you? A grandbaby?
He may be the greatest engineer since Tesla.
He is not the greatest engineer since Tesla at all. He has 10% more knowledge on a topic than his fellow Silicon Valley compatriots, as far as the ones who had money. And he took his PayPal money and chased after stuff that materially made things in the world. And he found other people who were engineers. The guys who created Tesla, he couldn't cradle their nuts,
right,
intellectually.
That I don't know, but I hear, and at least from reports and some of the things in Tesla and other things he's done, he seems like he's an extraordinary, engineer.
No, he's not an engineer. He's not an extraordinary engineer. As a matter of fact, he's a rudimentary engineer. You know how I know? I'll show you. And this is somebody who's newly studying engineering because I like it. Let's see. Let me just go to here.
In order to keep you
into your company.
Get the fuck out of here. Don't play that. There we go. Let's see. Musk predicts self. Okay. Yeah, here you go. Hold
on. The biggest gap that I see is our ability of autonomous driving.
Where we save hardware and power at the cost of some software complexity.
So for you and I, this is a very simple problem. This is not the case for computers. We have to teach the computer how to deal with shadows, forks in the road, large objects, tunnels, or how to deal with construction sites. It has an opinion, and then you're saying this is the correct answer, and it tunes itself a little bit. It's almost like you have to solve the self-driving problem to just simulate other cars. This is supposed to be a video.
We think people do not need to touch the wheel, look out of the window. Sometime probably around, second quarter of next year. There's 3 steps to self-driving. There's being feature complete, then there's being feature complete to the degree that person in the car does not.
Okay, that's 2019. That's 2019. It's 2023, by the way. Let's see.
For 8 years, Elon Musk has been saying he would deliver a self-driving car in a year or so. He still isn't close.
A Tesla car next year will probably be 90% capable of autopilot. So 90% of your miles could be on auto.
We're probably only a month away from having autonomous driving, at least for highways and for relatively simple roads. The Model S and Model X at this point can drive autonomously with greater safety than a person right now.
By the way, if Joe Biden said that basically at this point, we've done so well as an administration, this government could run on autopilot by this time next year, and he'd said it in 2021, they would have burned the White House to the ground by now, and he would have helped light the match. This is 2016.
We're still on track for being able to go cross-country from LA to New York by the end of the year, fully autonomous.
But next year, for sure, we'll have over 1 million robo-taxis on the road.
I'm extremely confident of achieving full autonomy and releasing it to the Tesla customer base next year.
When do you think Tesla will solve level 4 FSD?
I mean, it's looking quite likely that it will be next year.
Like, the fuck out of here. Hold on here. I'm just saying. Calm the fuck down. He's not solving any of these problems. As a matter of fact, if he was anywhere near the engineer they're talking about, he would not have made those promises that long and not been able to keep them. Ugh. That would be the sign of a good engineer. A good engineer would tell you what's absolutely possible. Yes, real engineers will shape the world. I completely agree. They do all the time. And a real engineer is not going to even allow themselves to, like, loosey-goosey promise something 8 years in a fucking row. The fuck? I like it. Come on.
He's also a man-child. He has the maturity of an 11-year-old boy. Right.
Right. Which is why Trump gets along with him and they see eye to eye.
Right. Appetite.
Or, I guess, none to none.
Of 11-year-old boy. He's an 11-year-old boy. He's a man-child. The lack of sophistication, the lack of understanding.
He's also the richest man in the world. So your pejoratives are bullshit. You're also sitting in front of a mantle. Just with your own quote. It just, some folks, sometimes, fucking hell.
No, we're not looking for the president of the United States to be the CEO of America. This is another foreigner like Soros and like Murdoch that doesn't understand our revolution, doesn't understand our framers. He's chief magistrate, commander-in-chief.
By the way, Steve Bannon calls himself a Leninist. But just check that for a second. Just add that to the filter.
And maybe CEO of the government, but the government is not America.
Oh, whatever. It's not. He's not even the CEO of the fucking government, dummy.
This is this weird techno impulse to authoritarian rule.
Aren't you the asshole who's trying to reinstall Trump even though he lost the election?
But the buried lead in the whole thing, by the way, just to be blunt.
Yes, because you've never been sharp. Sorry.
He's not MAGA. He's not deplorable.
MAGA. Oh, MAGA. Pardon me, mate. I'll be in the drawing room playing the grand piano. MAGA.
And all the fanboys and Conservative Inc. that fawn over this.
Conservative Inc. Can we just get the popcorn out? They're eating each other alive.
Every day. Also, if you look at them, most of them are man-childs also. And I hate to throw my brother Darren Beatty into that crowd, but hey, if the phrase fits, you got to wear it. This guy's dangerous, and let me say why he's dangerous. Chris Hayes picked it up, and Chris Hayes is the only guy to pick it up.
Excuse me? You think Chris Hayes is the first guy to call Twitter a microblogging site? You're kidding, right? To calm him the fuck down? Ugh.
Cybernetic collective mind for humanity. Well, let me think about that for a second. Cybernetic collective mind for humanity. And where Chris Hayes talk about, well, it's just a microblogging site. Yes, it's a crime scene, brother. We know that.
It's a crime scene. Yes, Twitter is a crime scene. Yeah, it's a hate crime, which you don't think exists.
Because of the government's involvement in what the government did, what the FBI did, what the intelligence agencies did. But it's not just a microblogging site. They have greater aspirations. And who is his financier? Who has he never been asked the question? CNBC's on there yesterday.
Jeffrey Epstein?
I think CNBC might have an interest in understanding, instead of David Faber embarrassing himself, fawning over, well, can you this little voice and kind of walking through there and, gosh, can I have another couple of minutes? David Faber, man, talk about, everybody's getting on Collins. This thing was a disaster. It was a disaster for Musk.
Oh, whatever. He's not an elected official. He's a rich asshole who smokes in games all day while other people invent shit. He's fashioned himself to be the I don't know, the bro Tim Apple,
because he showed his true self. Let me repeat that.
Well, it won't help, but go ahead.
What I've built is a cybernetic collective mind for humanity. A cybernetic collective mind for humanity.
Yeah, it's an egotistical, ridiculous statement that has no basis in reality.
And later in the conversation, to connect dots, Brother Hayes,
I love how about. I will say this is super fucking weird. You guys notice how weird this is? Him calling Chris Hayes Brother Hayes. By the way, he'd be your big brother because even though he's younger than you, he's taller than you.
And he actually says that Tesla is really an artificial intelligence company. In fact, he makes all these claims. And if I can have my crack staff maybe pull the last half of his thing about that.
Yeah, self-driving is a form of AI. Big deal. And again, it's SI. It's synthetic intelligence. It's not artificial. It actually exists, but it's just predictive. The human mind is not predicated on prediction. As a matter of fact, imagination is one of the key elements of our survival and our existence on the fucking planet. If we could only do what we did yesterday, or mild variations therein, we'd still be banging rocks together and fucking holes in trees.
About the artificial intelligence. He makes...
And look, I'm from Kentucky. I'm just talking about the late 80s.
Incredibly bold claims about ChatGPT, really, which he was one of the founders of. And when it was...
No, he wasn't. He was an investor in OpenAI. It's not the same fucking thing. Again, this is how people give him credit for shit he hasn't done. He threw money at it, dummy. Sam Wall, who started Walmart, is not the engineer behind marketplaces. He just recognized a weakness in other people's sales and a strength in his own and pivoted on it.
It was a not-for-profit.
And that actually took more effort than fucking, I'm going to buy Tesla. I mean, I'm going to buy Twitter with other people's money.
Not being anywhere near Tesla. And he goes, yeah, we could have 1,000, 5,000, 5 million cars driving simultaneously. With our
we do have millions of cars driving simultaneously in this country. Not coordinated like a drone swarm.
But that's all going to be driven by the cybernetic collective mind.
No, Twitter is not going to drive your car. Fucking, you're not going to get to where you're going because you got enough likes. It's not going to be fueled by upvoting.
For humanity.
What the fuck? I don't know what he's talking about. Do you?
I'm here today to give you signal. We got a lot of guests. We're going to go through a lot.
We're going to signal out the noise. Tip of the spear, arbor-piercing shell.
But there are forces at leash in the world today.
Oh, fuck off with your Moloch bullshit. Oh, my God. ChatGPT is extraordinary, yes, and it'll do a lot of great things. And in a lot of ways, because you can now interact with the computer verbally and in a human way as opposed to having to type ones and zeros or flip fucking mechanical switches, it'll get a lot faster and you can ask it, and it can do a depth of complicated calculations at a higher rate than it ever has in the history of humankind. That will speed up our ability to learn and to explore and to experiment. That's what's going to happen. That's it. It's not going to replace God. It's not going to replace flesh sex for a long time. It's going to be a sad secondary version. And at best, you're going to end up with a verbal co-pilot that you can talk to. And everybody's going to have to name Siri or Alexa or Cortana or whatever a separate name that they give themselves, because we'll all be talking to them in a restaurant, asking for something or telling it to remind you of something, like you're talking to your fucking phone, and they'll all be the same name. So it'll add it to everybody's calendar. So you're going to have to rename it. That's it. It's fucking autofill on steroids. Calm the shit down.
That will change the direction, not just of our own beloved republic, but change the direction of all humanity.
I got to tell you, when dickheads like this try to be poignant, I'd like to say for the record that what he just said is as useless and goofy and worthless as what Crystal Ball said about what AI is going to do to journalism. This ignorant fucking panic attack. This is the equivalent. I've mentioned this before, but when we started talking about maybe being able to attach limbs to, of a dead person or of an injured person who's in a coma and then they're going to die, but while they're alive, we could maybe take organs or a limb or something. This is back in the early days of it in the 30s and 40s and even in the 20s. People started writing stories about that shit because they're like, but the soul is in the body. And what if they give me the hands of a killer? I'm going to choke everyone. Bannon is not a Mason. No, he is not. He would not qualify. And he wouldn't join. I am. He wouldn't. Anyways, that was a big fear. And it was adorable. Idiotic, stupid, but still. Okay. We're done. Checking on my girl. Hold on. Okay. And making plans. So, this panic attack about an information-based AI is perfectly suited for the modern media era that we're in. Because you got a shit ton of people who aren't even fucking sure what they add to the equation. And they certainly don't have a new or original take on anything. They know they could be replaced with a fucking machine that goes, I hate Biden, I hate Biden, I hate Biden. And they're aware that would be pretty fucking easy. You could feed like 2 years of my show, the whole run of it, since COVID, 2.5 or whatever. You could run the whole show into ChatGPT and it would spit something out because it had to that sounded like me talking about some particular issue. But it wouldn't go very deep. After a while, you'd go, okay, this is made up, silly. It lacks all the personality. But Steve Bannon, fuck, that thing could go, yeah, I heard 10 minutes. I got it. Dunk, 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 dunk. Armor-piercing shell. Tip of the spear. Military, the naval brigade. Like it's so, and so of course, and same thing with Sagar and Crystal. Neither one of them knows what they add, if at all, or if they even believe they add anything.